There is without a doubt a deep spiritual connection between nature and the emotions we feel for it. We feel drawn towards it. It can be a place of peace where worries and concerns are forgotten as we concentrate on the sights and sounds and challenges at hand. I knew the outdoors, with its challenges, is a perfect way to bond with someone, make lifetime memories, and even learn life lessons. But when I was challenged with capturing Colby's story, I never thought I would be the one that left the river having learned a lesson. It started off just another shoot. I followed Colby and his dad through the twists and turns of the small North Georgia River and soon saw how nature can bring us together and heal us. Not physically, but emotionally. The clear water, bend in the fly rod, the colorful trout, the companionship of friends and family. I learned just how powerful nature can be.
My profession currently is an ophthalmologist, eye surgeon. I was in the Army for a lot of years doing primary care medicine and then went back to residency. But our real forte is more specific for diseases of the eye, glaucoma, retinal diseases, taking care of diabetic patients, and surgery of the eye. Through work, I met a wonderful gentleman named Scott Butler, and Scott deals with some products that we use to help repair the front surface of the eye. About a year ago, Scott invited my son, Colby, and myself up to try fly fishing. And so that's how we actually heard about Noontula. And we came up and fished about a year ago, and Colby just had, well, both of us had a wonderful time, really enjoyed it, and so we've been itching to come back.
I need to see a little bit of love before I'll be found, 'cause I ain't got rules to hold me down.
So having the fish on the line was intense. Of course, as you could probably see, I'm pretty skinny. You can't tell under here, but believe it or not, I don't actually have that much muscle. Wrestling a 22-inch rainbow trout in a river was kind of intense. I was really getting some arm pain, but it was also kind of fun because you spend 10 minutes wrestling this giant fish with this rod that's bent like this. It's really fighting hard, and everyone's like, come on, come on. And then as it gets more intense, everyone gets quiet. That was the funniest part, is I guess it was a lot of focus that came in.
Get it, fish, fish, fish. Big fish. Yeah, beast, beast. Oh man, what a great shot. Dude. Whoa. Turn loose there, Cole. Let him go. Let him go. Just let him go. For just a second, then take off again.
Our son Colby's had a lot of medical problems. He was born with a pretty rare condition called esophageal atresia. And what that condition is the esophagus doesn't fully develop. So some children are born with fairly long esophagus, and there's just one small gap that has to be repaired. Which is terrible, but an easier fix. Unfortunately, Colby's is what they call an ultra long gap esophageal atresia. So he's had over 50 surgeries to repair and put that back together. And then somewhere right about the age of 7, he came home one day and he said, "Dad, my vision's a little blurry." And I still remember, he specifically said there was a book in one of his classrooms that he could see. And he would look right at that book when he'd come in, and he could remember seeing the title, and one day he just couldn't see it. And it seemed to him to happen, pretty quickly. So I took him up to the clinic and checked his eyes, and he didn't have any what we call refractive error, nearsighted or farsighted or astigmatism. I looked in the back of the eye, and the exam was consistent with something we call Stargardt's disease. And Stargardt's disease is a condition that's genetic, affects both eyes, and leads to central vision loss. And it's a progressive disease. He won't ever lose all of his vision. He'll know if it's day or night, but the center of his vision is what's progressing and advanced pretty rapidly. So he's, for quite a few years now, has been worse than what we call legal blindness, which is worse than 2200. And it was hard, because I think, at least in his earlier days when he was ill and times were really stressful, like at work. And like a lot of us, if you work hard and get your mind off of it, then you can kind of get through it. And Colby's diagnosis was really tough. Obviously, hardest on him, but it was really hard for me, because all day long at work, every eye I would look at would remind me constantly of him and his plight. But he's always had such an amazing attitude that it didn't take long before I realized he was going to be fine.
Yeah, this morning we woke up and it's about 30 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. So we're gonna have to put that fly right on their nose. There's a big tree over here and there's an undercut right there. There'll be 3 or 4 big rainbows laying under that undercut. But we're gonna put you in this bin down here. We'll step down on the gravel and we'll go to work.
So in terms of other senses, this is probably a pretty well-known fact, but when you're blind, when you lose any sense, that generally means that you're going to rely on your other senses more. So for me, that would be hearing, smell, taste, and feel. So today in fishing, really listening to the streams, the water, was definitely really cool. Like, one thing I really noticed was definitely feeling the vibrations of the fishing rod. When you cast and say you hit a rock, or it would just gray, it wouldn't catch on something, it would gray something. You really get to feel that through the line and the rod. And then finally catching the fish, the slime and how slippery the fish is.
Set it. Lift.
Oh,
fish
oh.
on. Colbs. Oh, look at that
wow.
thing. Oh, yeah. Let him go, bud. All right, lean your rod to the right and reel like crazy.
Tell he's a rainbow.
Yeah,
He was
no doubt about that.
so colorful coming out of the water.
Oh, he's on your little bitty fly there too, Colby, so just take your time with him. Lean your rod to the right, hard right. Gorgeous.
Colby, beautiful, buddy.
Wow.
Yeah. Keep tilting, keep
That
tilting.
is one cooperative fish. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, man.
I remember one day he was in the tub, and he'd pretty recently gotten the diagnosis, and I looked down on him, and I was just getting more and more sad, and tears started running down the cheek, and he looked up at me and he said, "What's wrong?" And I smiled and I said, "Well, buddy, I'm just feeling sad that this new diagnosis for you." And he goes, "It's okay, Dad. Even if I go completely blind, I'll always remember the fun we had together." And that kind of personifies Colby, in that that no matter what happens, he always finds the bright side. He always finds a silver lining in every cloud. And kind of ever since that moment, I realized again, he's going to get through this. He's going to be fine.
I realized that I definitely can do this, and you can't let a disability stop you from pursuing activities or what you want to do in life, you know? I mean, you can get help. There's plenty of people out in the world that would love to help you, or plenty of technology nowadays, and you troubleshoot it, you work around.
Every person has events in their lives that contribute to the person they become. And on this day, I witnessed joy and love through my camera lens that I cannot deny affected me. With every trout Colby landed, his hands gently ran down the fish's side, feeling every detail. And standing in the cold mountain stream, surrounded by the sounds of the water rushing past, and his dad's voice by his side encouraging him, I could sense Colby taking it all in. And at this moment, the connection between man and nature was pure. And Colby didn't need perfect eyesight. His heart knew exactly what he needed, and God had just the perfect remedy. Colby was seeing the world through the eyes of his fly rod, and it made him happy.